Alright, introduction video for a new channel. Suffering sucks. Guess what the subject is? Yeah, suffering sucks. And there's ways that we can do something about that reality. And, whether it's, being responsible in our interaction with animals, trying not to eat them if we don't have to, trying not to at least torment and torture them if we don't have to. But certainly, even in humans, we could treat humans a lot better. It's just part of our reality here. Certainly, there's other people that, there's organizations that are attempting to do something to look after the welfare of animals. But it all does get kind of complicated because some of those efforts I don't see any purpose in, because they have a little too much reverence for nature, which doesn't really care about animals either. Will treat them very badly, create lots of suffering. Yeah, I don't know exactly how this channel will be focused. It's just focused on trying to get people to be a little bit more conscious of what life costs, that it's a price to be paid for our existence. It isn't free. Whether we personally pay the price or not is kind of irrelevant. The price is being paid. Living things suffer. We suffer, and that's the objective's got to be to reduce the amount of that suffering. It seems so logical that it shouldn't require explanation. So I'll point to a video just as what this channel is going to try to fight against is the attitude of these Homo sapiens, these creatures, I don't know what to call human beings like this, who make Thanksgiving videos celebrating their gluttony and laughing at the sacrifice, what something else has given to provide them with an existence. Even, the most primitive human beings had some reverence or some sort of appreciation for the taking. They kind of knew they were taking when they killed an animal. They sort of made their animals into gods in some respects, and they understood to some depth that there was something to be a little moody about, that this wasn't just a non-event. It was an event. To let the blood out of some other animal was not nothing. It was something. And it's amazing that human beings now, thousands of years later, have even lost that appreciation. They can't even muster that much dignity or decency or character. They so mechanicaled the universe, the world. They've made it so much theirs that they won't even now account, they won't even now acknowledge that something pays for their existence, and that it's not free, and that it's not just it's not material for their, well, it is. It's material for their pleasure. They'll just laugh at it. They'll laugh at what how much they take, and as if they've accomplished something, as if their dominance and victory deserves celebration. I don't even know how to put it into words, because it's so basic to whether or not, what are we here for? Are we here not to care? I mean, it's almost like that's what we've made the objective of existence, is just not to give a damn. And I just don't see any point in existing in that context. The job isn't finished. Perfecting this thing called life, or figuring out how to live it, that job is not finished. We aren't there yet. This is ugly and sloppy, and we've got to do better than this. And what we don't need is people laughing at the project, laughing at the task. So anyway, this is always going to be kind of a contentious subject. I don't know how you you avoid that, because you're basically pointing a finger at somebody else and saying, no, it's not right for you to do that. And I don't want it to be that way. I mean, it'd be nicer if there was some other way to say it. But yeah, I mean, you either care or you don't. And I don't, you know, there's how do you inspire in someone else give a damn? I mean, they see it all around them. The world has it all around them. They don't have to be educated to the fact that suffering happens, and a lot of it, and much of it is just completely unnecessary. I mean, there's millions of people living on vegetarian diets, maybe billions, and it can be done without any real deprivation. So why I mean, why waste money and this really is a difficult subject. Fortunately, there are some other people who make very good videos, you know, about vegetarianism and animal cruelty and such, that maybe enlighten some people who have chosen to ignore reality, chosen to not think about it, and maybe that's what has to be done. Maybe people's noses sort of have to be rubbed in it. I think it sort of goes further than that. There's the psychology thing. The, you know, tradition has given us a way of life within a framework and perspective, and so people have had this perspective. They grow up in cultures that have accepted their blight on animal life, and certainly accepted nature as just a fact of life and something they can't control. And it's always been a philosophical easy out. You know, you can always change the equation or make the equation attractive by just pointing to nature. I mean, nature's as cruel and as nasty as it can get. So it's really easy to make excuses because there's somebody behaving worse. And so maybe this channel will try to get people to look the other way, to say, well, how far are we from perfection? How far are we from doing the best we can to do what we can to prevent suffering? I mean, it really isn't that complicated. You know, and it's the little things that get in our way. I mean, our attachments. People won't let things die gracefully because they are attached, or they think, oh, it needs to live, or some other bullshit. They will. I've used this example before, but it's sort of, you know, it's like the Save the Whale campaign. Why do people want to save them? The whales themselves won't be better off if we did. They would just be farmed. So they would basically be like seals are now. There'd be a natural animal that we farmed, and so they wouldn't even have the same rights that farm animals have. That's how ludicrous it becomes. So we'd be doing whales no huge favor, but people just can't accept the idea of something not existing. They always think existence is better than non-existence, and I think those memes, those ideas, those notions are just that. They're just notions. They're not built out of anything logical. The truth is, we want to do something to make the world a more benign thing, to make the collective of consciousness that exists on it less susceptible to suffering. And it's obvious that you would first pay attention to the human population, but that there's so many other creatures on this planet that have well-developed capacities to feel. And that's part of where this does get also complicated, is that we have such an arrogance about what intelligence gives us. I mean, intelligence gives us complexity in our emotions, but it does not make our emotions intense per se. It's not a proven fact. Our life experience is not necessarily any more consciously intense or real because we have made it complicated. You know, And when you look at that complexity, we're not really using it in a very sophisticated manner. The equations, the emotional equations that make us capable of giving a damn are pretty fucked up. They're pretty personal and pretty cultural and pretty dependent on conditioning and circumstances, and they really don't have much intellectual integrity. And so for all our self-praise for our highly developed intelligence, it becomes most apparent in these subjects where it is most necessary, which is another irony.